It's a pleasant good evening to Mr. Richardson. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yes, indeed. The Estate Police Association, the president, yes, of the EPA. And I know you've been in so many meetings for the past few days, so I want to thank you definitely for taking time out and enlightening us to what is taking place. Recently, you suggested that security guards should be allowed to use automatic weapons when they have to do cash in transit operations. Now, let's put this in the right perspective, and I know you'll be able to give us a better insight. But for those of us who are on the outside looking in, when you talk about security guards, the first thing you envision is someone who is underpaid and overworked. At least for me, underpaid and overworked. Hours standing there, having to endure sometimes the worst of situations. Someone had asked me one time, hey, in the early days, if I wanted to be a security guard, I said, well, what am I going to be armed with? And they said, a flashlight and a baton. So I don't know if the flashlight was to help the criminals see better, to rob me, and to take stuff from the warehouse. I don't know. But it always seems as though security guards are just, when you look at their functions, the things that they have to guard and ensure that, it's not robbed or whatever, it really doesn't add up. I mean, when you look at the pay, when you look at the benefits, and now many are losing their lives. I mean, what's happening?
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the thing. There are two classifications within the private security industry. One which we call security guard, which is really a security officer, and the estate police officer. The estate police officer, under law, the Supplemental Police Act 1502, has all powers, rights, immunities of that of a police officer below the rank of corporal, right? So when they say, they have all powers and duties and responsibilities of that of a police officer below the rank of corporal. So you will find we've become accustomed especially since after the coup, when this whole private security industry blossomed, and all businesses wanted to have a security officer in the business. So you will find that those persons who you will find a lot of who you refer to, right, with the baton and the thing, a lot of them are what you call security officers. They do not carry a precept issued by the commissioner of police, right? And you have a lot of officers, and you have the other section, which is the ST constable, who you would see from time to time in some of those businesses also. But they do have the powers of arrest under the law, and they carry a precept from the commissioner of police saying that they are ST constables.
And I understand that, Mr. Richard.
Yeah,
I understand that. I mean,
yeah,
I understand that. If it is I blanketed the entire thing, I want to thank you so much for correcting me.
Right.
But my thing at the end of the day, just as how I look at police officers, I look at these estate officers and security guards the same way, because you're leaving home and you don't know if you're going to return after your shift, or even if you pick up an extra shift. But is everything being done to ensure the safety of these employees? And that's my concern.
Yeah. And that is our concern. We have voiced this over and over, that the private security industry and the private security operators within the private security, they pay very little attention to the safety and the security of the officers who carry out the functions which pay them. So we have a situation where you have SC constables who carry out this very dangerous cash in transit function, which is really to take cash from businesses and deposit it in the bank. Okay, and from them I take cash from the bank and take it to businesses. Okay, so that is what we have now, the issue concerning the firearms and the crime situation. So we have raised the issue that they do not have proper protection, and two, we are being outgunned, and the law does not, in fact not the law, some of the policies that were implemented years and decades ago concerning the police carrying firearms are outdated and needs to be reviewed in light of what is the current situation of crime and what we are actually facing out there. Right? So you have all of this thing, and you're not being paid properly, right? You're being paid, a lot of them, especially in the private security industry, they're being paid $18 and $20 to carry a firearm. They will get an extra $4 or $5 per hour to carry a firearm. So how is that going to equate to risking your life, being under-trained, being under-equipped and everything, and then the company, you lost your life, your family is compromised, They don't know where the next meal is coming from. And then the company just continues and they just replace you. And their profits keep going up and up. And that's exactly what's happening.
And that definitely has to be some concern, I know, for you and the association. I mean, you're talking about men and women who are transporting money that they in their lifetime may never even see or accumulate, but they're putting their lives on the line. What about stuff like insurance? I mean, God forbid something happens based on what we've seen just the other day with this officer from Telecom Security. And secondly, many of these security firms, do they or do they not have armored vehicles? There are those reports coming in to us here on the Observer is that many of them do not have armored vehicles. They take it for granted that, they're security guards, they're walking with guns and they're never going to be tested. But we are living in different times, totally different times, where the criminals are very desperate and have no sort of second guessing when it comes to snuffing the life of another human being. So are they getting the protection on the job as well?
Well, we've established no. That's a criminal no. Now, let's go back to 2013 with Bo Clark, Sentinel, on the way to the airport to deliver money to go to Tobago. And when they rammed the vehicle and killed them in a vehicle, that's 2013, right? Fast forward to 2019, when in Tobago, at MI4, the officers working for MI4, they replenishing a machine, they ambushed him and they shot him in the head, and he died. And then you had the cigarette truck in 2021. In 2022, you had Pennywise, and now in 2023, you have Augustine, right? So the fact is that they have not adjusted their operations to take care of their people who carry out this. It is really criminal to think that after September 19, 2022, where the nation saw basically live on video what transpired with the officers at Allied and by the Pennywise location, that these companies would not have adjusted their operations and say, listen, I do not have an armored vehicle, I do not have the proper vest, I'm not trained my people, I'm getting out of this business, and leave the people who want to invest in it, right, to really carry out that function. No, they do not have, a lot of them do not have armored vehicles. Some do have armored vehicles, right? Some of the armored vehicles are not functioning as well. So that is exactly what's going on.
Now,
exactly what's going on.
I am certain that this issue is on the desk of the Minister of National Security. I mean, has he been looking into this? Have you had discussions with him concerning these things?
Well, we did meet with the Minister of National Security a couple months ago and have some discussion concerning private security. And some of the things were brought up and in discussion. This last incident here now, right, we have written to the Commissioner, right, and we will seek an audience with the Minister of National Security, right, to bring some more to the table, because it is becoming extremely prevalent. So we have asked for a meeting, just recently asked for a meeting for the Commissioner of Police to review this policy that they have, which says that their state constables only could carry 25 rounds of ammunition when they're going out on their duty, and then also review the laws, in fact, to allow state police officers who have all powers, rights, and duties of a police officer to carry a firearm, an automatic firearm, right? Make sure that we properly train and everything. But because we have to meet equal force, if the police service is complaining about the type of firearms that they are meeting outside there, and the type of firearm that firepower that is being directed at them, and we only going on with pistols, 9mm and shotguns. You understand? And we are the persons in the front line. We are the persons at the businesses. We are the persons they're going to target the CIT. Right? The police will come after to solve the crimes. Right? The police will go to the hotspots to solve their crime and get shot at and all of that. But on a daily basis, we are the persons who the bandits will come, because you're in the grocery, you're in the bank, you're in the credit union, or whatever business you are. When they come, the first order of business is to disable. You disable the officer and you have free shoot of the business. So we have to be protected first and foremost. We have to be able to return fire. We have to be able to be protected if we get hit. We need to have some level of protection, and most importantly also, we need to have proper insurance so that when we leave this plane, right, at least the some sort of financial protection, which may afford them some relief.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I mean, really and truly, these men and women are putting their lives on the line. And I really and truly hope that the Minister of National Security, as well as the Commissioner of Police, do understand how important it is. Because, I mean, come on. I mean, underpaid, overworked, and yet still there's no value added to the job that they're doing because no one seems to care whether it is that they have full protection. And there has to be some sort of way that some association, some group needs to come down and inspect these security companies and find out what's going on. If you have armored vehicles, if you don't, I mean, based on the report that we got the other day, what took place with that telecom officer, that was not an armored vehicle.
Well, we are still trying to know. We do know. Now, people link armored vehicles to a big bulky vehicle like what you would see the amalgamators that have on the road, the Hulk and the Goliaths, right? But there you can armor any vehicle. You can reinforce any vehicle, right? There are companies that do that does that in the States and all of that, and they will bring it in, right? Our information that we were getting that Telecom does have some armored panel vans. We try to ascertain whether or not that particular armored van was in fact armored for and fit for duty, right? For that particular thing. But interestingly, the companies are basically saying to us, listen, there's no law which mandates or says that you must have an armored vehicle to carry out this cash in transit, right? So that is the loophole that they want to use to say that the law doesn't dictate that in order for you to carry out a cash in transit, you must have an armored vehicle. But then under duty of care, under the OSHAC, you have a duty of care to make sure that the best practices are adhered to in order so that your people, right, could be protected. And if the best practice worldwide, is for armored vehicles, right, whether it be an armored truck or armored panel van or whatever is the case may be, right, that is the applicable standard that you have to use. Nobody told you that you must carry out go into the business of cash in transit, you know. If you choose to get into the business of cash in transit, then you have to take now the use to all that is necessary in order, one, to safeguard the persons who carry out the duties, to safeguard the monies of the clients, although that money is already insured, right? Yeah. And also to safeguard the reputation. Because what is going to happen now is that we're going to take this thing, we have taken to the next level with the Allied, where we would have asked for a report from the OSH on the violations under the OSHAC for them to give out an investigation into that. And we've also initiated through Maraj, right? We have still a pre-action protocol letter to Allied for the wrongful deaths, for not treating due care and attention to the duty of care for the officers on behalf of their families. And we are going to do the same thing, right? With Telecom. So we've already asked the OSH, right? We have already reported the matter to the OSH and asked for investigation into the circumstances. One, whether they had the proper vests, right? And two, because the report coming out to us is that vehicle was not even functioning without air condition.
And again, so it makes you wonder. Mr. Richardson, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to link with us this eevning. We will be checking in with you periodically, but listen, this has to fix. It cannot continue.
And just before we go, we will be referring to the Commissioner of Police to seek permission to have a march. We want to mobilize people to come out and say, listen, we need to look at this particular industry in a particular way and have these things addressed. So we will come out and we will be advertising it, and we will just want people to come out and say, listen, we support the state police and the security of in this country because we are being killed for absolutely pittance.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Richardson. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you.